Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jolene Mo, and I'll be your host for today. Welcome to NUS Business School e-Open House live panel. Hear from our students. We are now live at the atrium of our very own business school building, the Mokhtar Riyadi building. Now, today I'm very excited to bring you our very first NUS Business e-Open House, and we have a series of live programs lined up for you. So do check out our program schedule on our website if you haven't done so already. I'm sure many of you have questions about what it's like to be a student here in NUS Business School. So do keep them coming on our Facebook live comment section. So we will do our best to answer as many as we can. So while we are waiting for that, let me first introduce to you our panelists. So Arnold, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Arnold. I'm from the BBA class of 2019 and I majored in finance. I just started work at an investment bank recently.
Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan and I'm also the same batch as Arnold, but from the class of 2019. I just graduated and I just started work at an investment bank as well.
Thank you all. And my name is Jolene. I'm also in the same batch as both of them. We graduated last year. I specialized in marketing and today I'm working in a tech company as a functional consultant. So let me get the ball rolling. The first question I'd like to ask both of you is, what is your NUS business student experience like?
I think my business experience can be traced back to my very first event as a ragger. When I came in, I was in rag. I think John Ree was with me.
Yeah,
two of us did rag together in our freshman year. So rag is an event where you get to meet your course mates in advance. You guys gather together to do a charity event for an entire month. So that was really what kickstarted my student life. I got to meet a lot of friends like Louis and I think Jolene as well through the various camps and orientation. And that really kickstarted my student life as I progressed on towards other things. How about you, John?
I started, I didn't participate in RAG, but I joined this thing called BZ Club and Orientation Week. I think Orientation Week was a good balance because they let us meet our classmates. Yeah. They focus us within each orientation groups where you'll be able to meet your classmates in advance before actually going into the work and into the when classes start. So that was a very good setting for you to know your friends on a more informal way instead of just going straight into the classroom. I have few many friends and we still keep in contact even after 4 or 5 years. Yeah. That's really quite a magic.
Yeah, I like that both of you shared how was it like in your year one with the orientation, with the rag. But how about the classes? You know, there's a question here we have here. How many people are in one class during one seminar and class tutorial? Can you share a bit more about that?
I think for the sectionals in NUS, most of the class sizes are quite small and cozy. There are about 40 people. So it's a 3-hour seminar style, so you get a lot of interaction with the professors. They like to ask you questions, they like to facilitate discussions. So there's a lot of student interaction where you get to express your opinions and you see whether, and debate with your classmates to see whether the things you talk about, whether what you did at home, whether like the real world cases you did, whether people agree with your opinions. Yeah.
Besides the seminar styles, there's also a lecture tutorial style. Where you actually have a lecture hall of about 100 people. It's still pretty cozy. After that, there are tutorials that are even more intimate setting of maybe 15 people, where you have a lot of close-up time with your professors and with your classmates when you have to prepare for the discussions that will be had during the tutorial sessions. I would think that because of the small class size, a lot of people voice out their opinions and share their experiences. So you're not only learning from the professors, but you're also learning from your classmates at the same time, which I think this is quite important and a benefit of having a small class size.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Jonathan has said. And apart from our own local students, we often have exchange students as well. So you have a more diverse interaction with the different people. Yeah. And for me, I really enjoy this kind of discussion because it not only allows me to learn what's on theory, but you also get to read out on case studies that's happening in the real world.
Definitely.
Yeah, so from year one, year two, what about your other years of your student life here? You know, what is your most exciting or most memorable experience that you have?
I think for me, my most memorable experience would be a case competition I had in Canada last year. So actually a case competition. Actually, John Ree over here was my teammate. Me, Jonathan and 2 other friends actually represented NUS in a competition in Toronto. So we went there for a week. We got to compete in this competition called the McGill Case Competition. where we got to meet people from all over the world. So the other finalists were from schools like Yale, LSE, Stanford, and all the top unis around the world. So we actually emerged first runners-up in that competition, and we managed to network with a lot of people from the big Canadian and US companies like the Canadian Pension Fund, BlackRock as well. So how about you?
I think one thing I really enjoyed and appreciated in NUS Business School is that they let us be more flexible. So what I did was I took a leave of absence and I went over to Cambodia to work for 6 months in an equity investment firm. So that for me was a highlight because it allows me to be more independent. It allows me to be overseas to experience a new culture such as that in Cambodia. And on top of that, the school supported us by providing financial assistance as well as the networks that we can leverage on when we are in Cambodia. So I met people from other faculties who are in Cambodia as well, and I think that is pretty amazing for me. 6 months, yeah.
Thank you, John. I also went overseas to work. I went to work for a year in Sweden, and I really
that's
appreciate the opportunity that NUS Business School have for you. So when I went over to work for a year, I can map the modules back because of the flexibility of our school, and I really appreciate it. And that was one of the most exciting moments for me in my student life as well.
Speaking of, actually a point about the working and taking a leave of absence is that I think the school listened to the students and they allow us to clear modules when we are doing our leave of absence and working, because that also qualifies as some form of professional curriculum. So you can clear up to 2 modules worth of credits, and that will actually help you to stay in time and still graduate on time, in addition to the wealth of experiences you get at the workplace. So that's something I really appreciate also.
Yeah, I think unlike the two of them, I actually didn't do an overseas internship, but I actually did do a 6-month business internship like John said. So for me, I actually spent my 6 months at Temasek. So it was a very fulfilling experience. I got to see like what goes behind the scenes in the Singapore finance industry. And during that semester, I also had the chance to actually do my field service project with GIC, where we built out a Python-based model in order to predict economic forecast indicators. Yeah.
That's pretty fun, yeah.
Wow, so you know you have names like Temasek Holdings and GIC and all the different internship experiences you have. Was it difficult to secure an internship, or is it common for all of the BBA or BAC students to have one?
I think securing internship is definitely difficult, but there are a couple of things that make it easier. The first would be our career services officers.
For sure.
So they actually tie up with a lot of the big companies to hold info sessions or networking sessions right here in the BBA campus, mostly in our atrium. So you get people like the HR as well as some of the directors from companies coming down to share about their company. So that really helps a lot in securing an internship. I think other things would be like we have a lot of informal clubs in NUS, such as Pathfinders or the Investment Banking Club, where seniors or like first or second year analysts in the working world will come back and mentor juniors, teach them how to do interviews, how to network the whole application, how to navigate the whole application process. Yeah.
And I think that the opportunity is afforded to everybody. You're not pigeonholed into a particular subject. If you want to be interested in finance, you can do a finance specialization, but yet you can also do marketing specialization as well. You can do business analytics, and I don't think they pigeonhole you into a particular occupation or particular sector. A lot of my friends actually just spent the first couple of years to go join camps, be orientation group years, which we both did. And only in our second or third year, and we were like, okay, we need to find out more about what's life after university. And the school had so much resources for us, help us figure it out by letting us talk to these people during the information sessions, and that really you can really leverage on the network of NUS Business School, and that's really quite amazing about this place. Yeah, I really benefited a lot from that.
I feel the same as you, John. But just now you touched on specialization. So we have a question here also from Justin. He's asking, do we have a certain requirement to fulfill before we specialize in a certain field? So maybe I'll start with myself first. So I specialize in marketing. Apart from marketing itself, there's a certain number of modules which is already very structured and given to you by the school. So you just have to fulfill the different types of modules. And apart from marketing itself, I also did a couple of entrepreneurship modules and also modules from other faculties, such as I went to the art faculty and I took a module on the study of names. So it was really interesting for me. And
Names?
indeed, so now when I look at the different streets and the different names we have in Singapore, it gives me a different impression. I really like that we are not just learning about our field, but also gaining other knowledge outside of our fields.
That's definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I think more about how the specializations work. I think one thing that's very good about business school, I mean, for me, when I came in year one, I had no idea of what I wanted to do. I knew I liked numbers, but there were so many options. There's analytics, finance, supply chain, logistics. There's so many different things I go into. So the good part about NUS is in the first 3 semesters, 1.5 years, you actually do basic modules for all the different subjects. So you take one accounting module, one finance module, one marketing module, one management module, one entrepreneurship module. So you get a taste and a flavor of everything. And in your second or third year, you can start specializing in what you liked. So for me, I'm actually a double major in finance and operations. After taking my first analytics and finance modules, I realized that I really enjoyed those two. So in my third and fourth year, I actually focused more on doing finance and analytics modules to deepen my expertise in those areas.
I think for me, I specialize in finance, but I took a lot of outside, they call it unrestricted elective modules, correct. So I'm part of a UTown college program in Tembusu, and over there they have certain classes that you have to take as part of a resident in Tembusu as well. So those actually go towards the degree fulfillment on top of the finance specializations that we have. And likewise, like Jolene, we also did a lot of other modules from other faculties, like from computing. I did a theatre class last semester with the Faculty of Arts, and that was a very, very fun experience. I think it enriches you to show that you're not just into finance, into marketing, into operations, but it makes you much more well-rounded individual, well-rounded graduate. When you finally go out to the workforce, it's not just finance all the time.
That being said though, did you all get your first choice for your specialization?
Oh yes, I think definitely everyone can specialize in whatever they want. The school actually doesn't limit how many people can do finance, how many can do marketing in every batch. It's really up to you to design your own curriculum. So people can do a double major, any of the combinations available, depending on where your passions lie.
And actually, just to add on the point on specializing, one thing that I find unique to this business school is that you can find like-minded individuals in different specializations. You don't have a culture where everybody is gearing into finance, or a culture where everybody is gearing into management consulting. You have people who are very open. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, you have a group of people, like-minded individuals, who can talk about entrepreneurship with you. If you're interested in marketing, or if you're interested in operations, you have another group of like-minded individuals that will form a good team and form a good community with you. So you're not really pigeonholed to anything, and you're really given the breadth and the network to leverage on to explore. And I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so like what you shared, the school doesn't limit any modules or any students for a certain type of specialization, and it also doesn't matter what grade that you have. It's not that only because you get A+ for that module, then you will get the specialization. There's no such thing. It's more fair. It's really up to you on what kind of specialization you want and what type of modules you want to take within that specialization itself. All right, and for both of you, do you have any struggles choosing your specialization?
Struggles. I think for me it wasn't really a struggle. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a numbers person, so I just looked at all the more So for me, management is out, marketing is out, so I just looked at more of the numbers focused things. And NUS actually lets you do a double major, which is very nice for me. So I got to do both the operations and analytics side as well as my finance major. How about you?
I think looking at the incoming group of students, I think one struggle will be the choices. Yeah, there's really a lot of things, and I think it can get very overwhelming when you are suddenly shown so much information and so many choices, specializations here, mix and match there. But I think that for me, the struggle was just to know what I want to specialize. And I finally decided on finance because I managed to speak to people, seniors who shared about the industry, seniors who shared about their experiences specializing. And I think these people really mentored me a lot and inspired me to pursue these specializations. So just talk to more people, explore, and then after that you get a better sensing of what you actually want or do not want to do. Okay.
Nice. And I'm not sure about both of you, but NUS Business School was my first choice. So I have also received, I was also considering other offers, but to me, NUS Business School really stood out because it also has the element of the campus lifestyle, which I feel that would really help me for my character development.
Yeah.
Did any of you live on campus as well?
I think both of us live on campus. I actually lived in the hall right opposite NUS Business School, Cambridge Hall. So hall life is actually very fulfilling. I got to try a variety of things. I got to play a couple of sports like basketball and handball. I actually danced in a play for the first and last time in my life. And I also got to organize a couple of camps and various events and launch initiatives around NUS. So that was really very nice. I got to meet a lot of different people, do a lot of different things, and I think it's very hard to get such an experience after you graduate university. So especially in your first 2 to 3 years of school, you need to seize the opportunity to do these kind of things.
Oh, I lived in Tembusu, which is part of the UTown College program. Tembusu and UTown College programs have a bit of a more academic slant. So beyond just the activities like camps, they also have things such as book clubs. They invite speakers down from all walks of life, from mathematicians to actors. We have a few actors who came down to visit us, talk about their experiences, our film studies, debates, as well as having a very international group of people coming from all over the world. And even till today, I still kept in contact with a few friends who came from overseas, and I'm really trying to visit them in their country, hopefully sometime soon. Yeah.
Nice. And like I know I also stayed in a hall. I stayed in Shields Hall, which is also pretty close to NUS Business School. So in that hall, I met a lot of my business schoolmates, and we actually get to get together and work on projects together as well.
Yeah.
And we were studying sometimes a little bit late in the library together. and I think that interaction also helps me to have a more enriching student life.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
One of my other very interesting moments that I have in NUS Business School is also the flexibility we have to actually do not just take whatever modules we want, interact with diverse group of people, but also get to go overseas. Why NUS was one of my top choice was because I know that more than 60 or 70% of the students get to go overseas in their entire education here.
That's true.
Do you manage to go overseas for exchange or?
Yeah, I think for me I actually had a lot of different overseas experience coming from case competitions or exchange. So in year 1 actually I went to Thailand for case competition. In year 2 I went to Kuala Lumpur for another case competition. In year 3 I actually did my exchange in Copenhagen. So during the time in Copenhagen I got to travel a lot of Europe as well as visit a lot of different countries. And in my last year, like I mentioned earlier, with Jonathan and I actually went to Canada for a different case competition. Yeah.
I went to the US for my exchange. I was very enriched over there. I am a big fan of Frisbee. So US has a very strong Frisbee culture. The sports culture is really strong there. And that was something that I wanted to take part of. You know, you watch a lot of shows, you watch a lot of football at home, but when you're actually there, you experience the game days, you experience a whole different way of life. And I think that now coming back to Singapore, I bring certain benefits, change the way you think, and then when you come back to Singapore, you actually become a more well-rounded person, more outspoken, and be able to communicate people from different cultures better as well. Yeah.
And likewise for me, I went over to Stockholm, Sweden. I joined the Swedish choir, and we had a concert where we sang over 10 different languages.
10 languages?
10 different
10
languages.
Wow.
Yes. And interacting with the people in a different school, it was also very enriching for me.
Yeah.
So as our session is drawing to a close, we don't have any more time to answer further questions. So if you do have any other questions, just feel free to email us or even just type in our Facebook Live comment section. We will try our best to answer all of them as well. And right now, I just want to thank everyone, both our virtual audience and also our panel, Jonathan, Arnold, for taking your time off to participate in this session. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.